Tacos are the best food group, full stop, except for the part where I elaborate a little bit. But before he drones on too long about how great tacos are, I just want to address the non sequitur in the empty pantry universe. See, I recorded this footage about a year ago, and a lot has changed since then, including a different kitchen and a different apartment. And over that year, I've continuously made this recipe on almost an every other week sort of basis. And because of that, I've continuously refined this recipe to become better and better. Now, I didn't feel like it was necessary to re-record all the footage, so today's gonna be an exercise of do what I say and not necessarily what you see. And as always, all of the ingredients and their proportions are going to be listed in the written recipe posted online. So if you want to follow along, you got something to go with. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get back to his rantings. I've got a number of different taco recipes here on the channel already, ranging everywhere from breakfast tacos to, some slow cooker tacos and a little bit along the way in between. But today we're going to be working with a veggie-friendly Korean tofu taco. This Korean tofu taco is honestly incredible. It is one of the most savory, the most filling, and the most satisfying ways to sneak in a little bit of plant-based protein into your maybe a little bit too much meat diet. I promise you, it's going to be simple. Don't worry, I'll walk you through every step along the way. So without further ado, I think it's about time for us to move on. To the recipe itself. The first step today is going to be preparing the tofu. In times past and for different recipes where I'm not crumbling the tofu, I like to carve out the extra firm tofu into slivers, pat dry with a paper towel, and let press out the water with the weight of cast iron. And now, remember, when it comes to tofu, water is going to be our enemy. That's why we're using a little bit of the cornstarch to soak up any of that excess moisture along the way so that we can get some of those nice and crispy bits. Nowadays, when I make this recipe, I typically skip the weighing down step and move directly into the crumbling plus cornstarching step. I found that you can save 20 minutes of idle time by just using a touch more cornstarch and it'll end up just as tasty. Continuously add cornstarch and mix until you have a solid coating around the tofu crumble. It'll look somewhat similar to the appearance of powdered sugar on donuts. Next up, we'll chop up the mixings for the tofu mince, first of which is roughly a third of a white onion, roughly diced and set aside in a prep cup. Next up is a handful or two of unsalted or lightly salted peanuts. These, when stir-fried, give a lovely little crunch to the tofu mince and should certainly not be skipped. Moving on to the sauce itself, remember, do what I say, not what you see. If you can, skip the cheap, light soy sauce. Kikkoman soy sauce is most certainly worth the slight upcharge that comes with it. Next goes in a bit of rice wine vinegar and fish sauce, which, now that I think about it, technically makes this not a veggie dish, but you can substitute here with whatever sort of umami booster you really like to use. After that comes sesame oil and a touch of water to help mix all things together. Then comes a spoonful or so of brown sugar, definitely brown sugar, and finally a bit of gochujang. Whisk that all together, and if you'd like to go a little bit spicier, add a touch of LaoGanMa, the oh so delicious garlic chili flakes. The next lesson I've learned over the years is when to really oil the wok. From what I've learned, it's better to have a hot wok and cold oil put in right before you stir fry the ingredients. Do not do what I just showed in the video. First to stir fry is your onions, which will be quickly topped with a dollop of garlic mince and ginger paste. You'll stir that around to combine and toss in your chopped peanuts. Stir fry this mixture around until the ginger garlic aromas start to subside, and then slide in your tofu mince. Here's where everything comes down to high heat and high motion. If the tofu is stationary, it'll stick. It's called a stir fry for a reason. If necessary, drop in a touch more oil, but you'll really just want to keep the temperature as high as you're comfortable with and keep the food moving so it doesn't burn. Once nice and golden all around, you'll dump your sauce right in and cut the temperature to a medium-low. To garnish this, you'll want to finely slice a handful of green onions. Sprinkle in a bit of sesame seeds and then top with the previously mentioned green onions. Have some respect for yourself and toast your corn tortillas. Then let's get everything over for topping time. This looks absolutely delicious and really comes together quickly, all things considered. Now you could top these tacos with just about anything you have on hand that would make this a little bit more crunchy and a little bit more, texturally interesting. In the past, I've topped these tacos with anything ranging from some quick pickled red onions to some thinly slivered purple cabbage, as well as, some shredded carrots. But at the end of the day, you could use anything you have on hand. In my case today, I'm going to be using some of the leftover pickled veggies from last week's banh mi video. If you haven't seen that video already, you are honestly missing out. It is one of my favorite recipes recently, and it is definitely going in my weekly rotation, or if not semi-weekly. I'm going to be making it a lot. It's very tasty, and you should watch the video, please. Tying a bow on this recipe, you'll scoop in a bit of your veggie tofu mince and top with whatever you'd like. To this date, the pickled veggie medley from the banh mi video is certainly the best, though I do wonder if this makes it a bit more of a Korean Vietnamese style taco. I'm certainly not the expert on this, but I can tell you that it tastes phenomenal and should most certainly be added to your meatless Mondays.